You threw away milk this morning because the date on the carton said so. You tossed a can of soup last week, maybe a box of pasta, maybe a bottle of medicine. Here's the thing, you almost certainly didn't have to. That date? The government didn't put it there. There's no law that says food goes bad on that exact day. In most cases, that date has nothing to do with safety at all. And every single year, Americans throw away $408 billion worth of perfectly good food because of a system that was never designed to protect you. So where did expiration dates come from? Who writes them? And what do they actually mean? Stick around, because after this video, you will never look at a date stamp the same way again. Welcome back to Stuff You Never Noticed, the channel where we pull back the curtain on the everyday things hiding in plain sight. I'm talking about the labels, logos, systems, and small prints that shape your life, and that almost nobody ever stops to question. Today's topic: expiration dates. They're on everything: your yogurt, your sunscreen, your canned beans, your medication, your car seat, your fire extinguisher. But here's what almost nobody knows. Most of those dates mean something completely different from what you assume, and in some cases, they mean almost nothing at all. Let's go. Expiration dates on food didn't exist until the 1970s. Before that, people used their senses: smell it, taste it, look at it. Pretty simple. Then in 1973, open dating in retail stores started getting pushed as a consumer protection move. By the 1980s, most grocery stores had them. The public assumed it was a federal safety standard. It was not. To this day, the USDA only requires a date label on one single category of food in the United States: infant formula. That's it. Everything else, every use by, every best by, every sell by, is put there voluntarily by the manufacturer. And here's the kicker: there's no standardized definition of what those phrases even mean. Let's decode them one by one. Sell by. This is a message to the store, not you. It tells the retailer when to pull the product from shelves, so there's enough time left for customers to use it at home. The food is still perfectly good after this date, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. Best by, or best if used by, this is a quality date, not a safety date. It means the manufacturer believes the product tastes, looks, or smells its best before this point. After that, maybe the chips are a little stale, maybe the juice is slightly less vibrant, but it won't hurt you. Use by. This one is the closest thing to a true safety indicator, but only on certain products like deli meats, ready-to-eat foods, and infant formula. For most shelf-stable products, use by is still just a quality estimate. Packed on, this is simply the date it was packaged, gives you context but tells you nothing about when it expires. So when you throw something away because of a best by date, you're responding to a marketing estimate, not a health warning. This matters beyond your grocery bill. The USDA and EPA estimate that the United States wastes between 30 and 40% of its food supply. That's roughly 133 billion pounds of food every year. And a major driver? Confusion about date labels. A 2019 study by the NRDC found that 80% of Americans prematurely toss food because they misread date labels as safety warnings. Think about what that means. Billions of pounds of food, billions of dollars, and massive environmental impact, all from a label system that was never unified, never standardized, and never required to mean what most people think it means. Now, before you go eating 10-year-old canned beans, let's be clear about what is real. Some foods do go bad in ways that can harm you, and often without obvious signs. Deli meats, soft cheeses, sprouts, and pre-cut produce can harbor listeria, salmonella, or E. coli, and those bacteria don't always smell or look wrong. With these, dates matter more, but even here it's about storage conditions, not just the printed date. Highly acidic canned foods like tomatoes degrade faster. Low-acid canned foods like beans, corn, and tuna can last 2 to 5 years easily, sometimes longer. Dry goods like rice, pasta, and flour, essentially indefinite if stored right. Honey? Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs, and it was still edible. The real variables aren't the date. They're temperature, moisture, packaging, and handling. A carton of milk stored at the right temp can stay fresh 5 to 7 days past its sell-by. Left in a warm car for an afternoon, it'll turn before you get home. Here's the part that really gets me. The food industry has known about this confusion for decades, and in 2017, The Grocery Manufacturers Association and the Food Marketing Institute actually tried to fix it. They proposed a voluntary two-label system, best if used by for quality and use by for safety. Simple, clear. Some companies adopted it, most didn't. Why? Because vague expiration dates are actually good for business. When you throw away a half-full jar of peanut butter because it hit its best-by date, you buy a new one. Early turnover means more sales. The date on your food isn't just information. In many cases, it's a business decision dressed up as a health warning. And the same thing happens in other industries. Medication expiration dates? A landmark U.S. military study found that 90% of medications, including aspirin, antihistamines, and even some antibiotics, remain fully effective years past their expiration date. The FDA requires the date, but acknowledges stockpiled drugs are routinely used past it in emergencies. Sunscreen? The FDA requires a 3-year expiration, but manufacturers set it. Most dermatologists say if it's been stored properly and still smells and looks right, it's working. Fire extinguishers are stamped with a 12-year date, but they're inspected and recharged, not automatically replaced. The date is a checkpoint, not a death sentence. We've been trained to trust the stamp, but the stamp was never about us. So what do you actually do with all this? Use your senses. Smell it, look at it, taste a tiny bit if you're unsure. Humans ate without expiration dates for 200,000 years. Your nose is a remarkably good detector. Know your categories. Deli meats, soft cheeses, raw meat, those deserve more caution. Dry goods, canned foods, condiments, way more flexible than you think. Store properly. Temperature and moisture matter more than the date. A fridge set above 40 degrees Fahrenheit is a bigger risk than an expired date on a can of chickpeas. And next time you reach for the trash, pause. Ask, is this actually bad, or did someone just tell me it was? That's the stuff you never noticed. If this video made you look twice at something you've always taken for granted, that's exactly why this channel exists. Drop a comment with the weirdest thing you've ever thrown away based on an expiration date. I read every single one. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time when we dig into the next thing hiding in plain sight.